Okay guys, I am back with my weekly manga review. This week we had no Naruto chapter, it's on break, so we did have Bleach and One Piece. However, next week One Piece is going to be on a break, which really sucks because at the end of One Piece we had another mysterious figure who we don't know who it is, and it's like Oda always does this when he's going to take a break. He gives us a crazy chapter with some new character or something, and it's just such a cliffhanger, and now it's like we have to wait another week, another 2 weeks before we find out who it is, and it just really sucks because I really like this. I really like Punk Hazard, the storyline. But yeah, so no Naruto chapter this week, and next week no One Piece. But I'm going to go ahead and start with Bleach. We had chapter 496, Kill the Shadow. I wouldn't say there was a lot of fighting yet, but there was some major stuff happen in this chapter that was pretty damn awesome. I'm a fan of the Quincy's so far, and they really need to be made to look strong here. And so far they have. They've been dominating all of Soul Society. So it starts off, one of the Stern Ritter kills a Shinigami. It was the guy with the glasses we saw a few chapters ago. The Quincy says something like, I know you're afraid, I can sense your fear. And he says, don't underestimate the Shinigami. And then the Quincy just kills him. I'm not sure what happened. You just see blood fly out of this guy. So yeah, Quincy's have been made to look pretty strong. We see Byakuya tell Renji to show no mercy. And the Quincy's up to this point have been pretty much indestructible. They've been hit with all types of weapons and attacks, and it doesn't even faze them. So Renji says, we can't touch them, we can't hurt them. And Byakuya shoots his blade things out and actually hurts the Quincy who has the spikes on their mask. And the Quincy's shocked. The luchador shows up trying to attack Byakuya, says what's going on. And he falls through the floor where Byakuya has apparently weakened the floor. So he falls down, and then he looks at Renji and says now it's 2-on-1. So he has a plan to fight the Quincy's. And then we see all the captains. They're talking about how the Quincy's can apparently seal Bankais, which they learned when they killed the vice captain of the 1st Division. In his report, he said that they can seal Bankais. So they're trying to figure out a way to beat these guys before the Bankais are sealed, because they need Bankais to fight them. And at the very least, fight them long enough to figure out a way to break the seal. So then we see all the well, not all the captains, but we see Kamamura, Hitsugaya, Sofan, and Byakuya all activate their Bankais. And they're getting ready to fight these Quincy's. And then we see the Quincy with the spikes on the mask, and I assume all the others, take out a medallion and just instantly destroy the Bankais. So the captains were kind of hoping that they could get in some shots and maybe destroy the Quincy's before they could seal it. They activated it, and it was immediately squashed. This was a really badass, a lot of art here was really good, and like the activations and then the Bankais getting destroyed looked really cool. And then we see Byakuya say, it's not a seal, my Bankai was taken. And that's the last thing we see in this week's chapter. So I'm really enjoying Bleach so far. I think this arc's been great, very fast paced. My only fear is I still feel like the captains are going to crush these Quincy's. They're going to find some way and beat them. And I really hope that doesn't happen, because right now they need suspense. They need a badass group of villains. And the Quincy's are it. These guys can destroy Bankais. They're super powerful. The moment they arrived, they killed, well, didn't necessarily kill him. I'm sure he's still alive or going to be brought back by Unohana or something like that, but they took out Kira. They blew his arm off. And, I mean, he's a pretty strong guy for a vice captain, and they instantly took him out the moment they appeared. So I'm really hoping that these Quincy's don't just get squashed and they actually get built up as major villains here. And plus, I'm tired of seeing Byakuya show up and just kill everyone. Like when they were fighting, what was his name, Genjao, and his guy who could like put memories into people in the last arc, and Byakuya shows up and just killed him. I mean, it was kind of a filler arc anyway, but still, I mean, you know what I'm talking about if you're a fan of Bleach, how he always shows up and then there's really nothing else. The only person he couldn't beat was Ichigo, and nobody can beat Ichigo. I mean, he's way too overpowered. So yeah, I'm certain that at some point Ichigo's going to show up and save everyone, but right now I just want to enjoy badass villains. I want to enjoy the Quincy's being strong and destroying people. That's all I want to see, at least for a little bit longer. So yeah, that was this week's chapter for Bleach, and I really enjoyed it. It's a good one. Then we had One Piece chapter 671, the Gas Fruit. The cover page is Nami as Cinderella. And man, this chapter was really good because it started off with Zoro's group. They're facing the slime. They notice that all the slime that lands in the water poisons the fish. So now they know that the slime is poisonous. Brook talks about a book he read where the slime removes women's clothes. And Sanji and the samurai immediately want to borrow this book. It was pretty funny. Sanji jumps in the water and he goes to look for the torso. So that's the last we see of them this chapter. I'm pretty sure the samurai guy, once he gets his torso, is going to be awesome. He does have a devil fruit ability, and as soon as he gets his torso back, I'm sure this guy is going to be, very, very helpful. I just have a feeling he's really strong. I don't think he's on the level of new crew member, but I think he's going to be entertaining. Then we see Law. He talks to Monet in the lab. He says he needs her powers for a little bit, and they head off together while he leaves the bag that contains Chopper to search the lab. Then we see Luffy, and we get a fight with Caesar. I did not expect them to actually come to blows this soon, but we did get a fight with Caesar. Caesar tries to choke him with the gas, and Luffy inhales it and says poison doesn't work on him thanks to Magellan. So Caesar has some type of device that explodes or something. I'm not really sure what this was, but he blasts Luffy, and then he has the slime cover Luffy, and then he blasts him again, and then we just see Luffy behind him saying, "That was close," and then he hits him with a jet stamp. Now, I don't know what the hell happened here. I know Luffy's fast, but we saw him covered in slime. We saw him get blasted. So, either he escaped before the second blast, but he still had to get rid of the slime. So I'm not really sure what happened here, but it was cool. So he hits him with the jet stamp, and then he immediately grabs him because he's supposed to capture Caesar. So he grabs him, and he tells Frankie, get a barrel so we can put him in it, and then he just passes out. I mean, he just gets a dazed look on his face, and then he just collapses. So Luffy is knocked out here, and Caesar just stands up and laughs. Then it cuts back to Law. He's walking with Monet, and then Law passes out. He starts to cough, he starts to hack, and then he's just about to pass out, and he looks up, Monet's laughing, and he sees someone walking towards him. And he recognizes this person, and the person says, "You've gotten stronger in 2 years, I think," something like that, something to that effect. And Law definitely knows who this guy is, but we, the readers, don't see who it is. He's covered by a shadow. So I don't know who this guy is. I'm wondering if Law was part of an experiment. I think the person is the guy Caesar's been calling. I think that's pretty clear. That's probably what's going to happen here. Caesar's been making phone calls to someone asking for permission to do certain things. And I think whoever he's been calling is this man. And this guy is probably going to be really strong. I'm so happy about this. Caesar still has potential to be a tough villain, but the Straw Hats are so powerful right now. They really need a strong villain, and I think we have that with this guy. We all know Law is really powerful. And to be able to just make Luffy and Law pass out like that is an insane amount of strength. So I'm really looking forward to see who this is, which is why it sucks that there's no chapter next week. But that's the sign of a great chapter when you can't wait for the next one. So this week's One Piece was awesome. Like I said before, I'm not sure what Law is. I'm wondering if he was an experiment by this guy. That's why he came back to Punk Hazard. They did an experiment on him. Maybe he grew up there. I'm not really sure, but it's going to be really cool. And One Piece typically does this thing where they'll take an arc, and it'll be major, like Water 7 in its lobby, and then they'll do a kind of a small arc where the villains aren't too tough, and then they'll go into another crazy arc. Like you had Alabasta Skypiea, well, that's not really a good comparison because the villains are still pretty strong, but it's like Inaru and Luffy's made of rubber. You knew he would beat him. And then they go into like Davy Back fight, which was a nothing. Luffy easily took him out. And then we got Water 7, which was a crazy arc. So I think Punk Hazard, Fishman Island, not a lot of competition for the Straw Hats there. That was kind of a easy one for them. So I think Punk Hazard's going to be really tough. I'm hoping anyway. So yeah, guys, that's my thoughts on this week's Bleach and One Piece chapters. Next week we'll have Naruto and Bleach. And that's it. I hope you guys liked the review. Leave your thoughts on it in the comments below. And thanks for watching.